So my goal with this is to show you the way I use Gemini 2.0 Flash in Poe. Let's start from the beginning. Poe is an AI system that you can get for your computer phone that contains other AIs. And each of those have different skill sets. And the one we're going to use today is this one right here. It's called Gemini 2.0 Flash. Gemini is the name for their large language model from Google. 2.0 meaning it's the 2.0 version of this model, and it's Flash because it's very rapid in its processing of your request. Other I'm not sure how to designators that could show up after Gemini 2.0 would also be Pro. Pro would mean it's spending a lot of time on your request and more compute points if you're using Poe to figure out what it needs to figure out. Today we're going to use Gemini 2.0 Flash. We're going to use it to do something very time consuming for a human, but very quick for a robot. Now we're calling Gemini 2.0 Flash a robot. It's not. It is a large language model. So when you give it letters, it makes a word out of it and turns that word into a math equation it can figure out how to give you a solution for. That was the summary of how large language models work, but it was over summarized. That's the way it goes with the summary. You only get the big concepts, never the fine nuance. We're going to tell Gemini Flash 2.0, I want and it doesn't really matter if you speak in all caps or not, but try not to yell deliberately. I want a spreadsheet layout that has 10 named columns, each relating to the thing I want you to search. The thing I want you to search is, see, I can even misspell words. Cocktail venues, mocktail venues in San Diego, California. With that, we've given it a goal, and now it knows how to make us happy. It didn't quite interpret my request correctly. That is okay. But what it has done is tell us the column names it's going to give each column. And it gave me those all in a single column. Ideally, I would have liked it to be the first column is called venue name. The second column is called address. The third is called neighborhood. Let's scroll down and see what else it told me. Okay. So it did enough of what I asked based on what I'm seeing. And now I can tell it, please make all of your named, let me scroll back up and see what it called those. Please make all of your named cells from the first column and spread them across the top row for 10 cells. This is now our header. Underneath it, please add 2 new rows of data, which represent 2 researched venues per my original request. Now, before I send this, I'm going to do one thing within Poe. I'm going to click up here at the top. I'm going to take control over the way Poe is managing context. I'll explain what that means, but what it basically does is tell Poe, don't you, Poe, decide how this bot should be able to go back into our conversation. I want this bot to always have the ability to go back into the conversation and read what we need to give it. So basically, I just told it, you can now, Gemini 2.0 Flash, you can now read everything in our past conversation with as many compute points as you want to spend. And by the way, sometimes Poe is doing this for me. If I send a message to the same bot in the same order, I have to sometimes send it with the call out to the same bot name. So now I'm adding this Gemini 2.0 Flash because when I sent that message, it did nothing. Sending the exact same message again as it should have gone in the first time. So almost like the last thing that happened. Now it's getting a response. Okay. And it gave us 2 and spread them across. and it looks like they have mocktails and sophisticated non-alcoholic options. So we got these things that we asked for. Let us click this first one, which will open this in a browser window. False idol, reservations menu. Do they have mocktails? Oh boy. Okay, this is big. Let's look up. I don't see exactly mocktails. There's a false idol. Maybe that means, no, it's rum. Well, I can't guarantee that that's accurate then, so I'm not going to count that as true. Let's look at born and raised. Do they have mocktails on their menu? Are they getting free info from or advertising from us? Sorry for all the scrolling. Try not to scroll too much on someone else's behalf because it's harder to see someone scroll than it is to do scrolling yourself. So I'm going to tell Gemini that neither of those two seem to have mocktails. I'm going to bring myself back to... There's San Diego over there. Look how nice it is. So neither those two venues seem to have mocktails. Menu. Please expand your search and increase SP specificity to my request. And I'm going to add that Gemini 2.0 thing again, just so I make sure this doesn't get wasted as a message that doesn't go anywhere. Okay. Thanks for apologizing, AI. Okay, let's see what it says here. Juniper and ivy. Do I see menus? It's one of those places, no menus. Oh, here it is. It's up here. Sample nightly menu. Okay, cocktails. None of those seem exclusively mocktaily. Boy. Well, Gemini, I don't know if I could really give you the credit I was originally trying to give you because you did a good job before, but now you're kind of letting me down. The grass skirt. Well, the whole point of this anyway, in terms of doing something with Gemini in this moment, was to see that it could do things like create a spreadsheet for us. If we gave it a little bit better qualification of data, so if we told it, hey, I'm interested in these 4 venues, I know they serve mocktails, please put them into a spreadsheet for me, it would have had to do a lot less work and it could have figured out a lot more with each of its token spends. But let me show you a past conversation I had. I'm going to scroll up to the top real quick. The conversation started with me telling it to create a spreadsheet, just like we did, because I prepped this earlier to make sure it works. It did that same concept, but scrolling through, I then had it, hold on, I then had it produce the spreadsheet where it's the right way. Now it knows what to do. It gave me some automatically filled out info, which is fine. But then I said, please replace that about business informations like breweries in San Diego. Specifically, that's what I'm asking for at this last request. It did that. It got me that info. These are real places. I know at least these are breweries, so I can verify at that level of top down looking at the data. And from here, if I really did have a business opportunity to talk to them about, this is a very fancy and easy way for me to check them all at once. So using Gemini 2.0 Flash and its ability to access web results, because that's the real trick. This is a very fast operating large language model. Gemini 2.0 Flash is a large language model that also has access to web research. So it can check Google reviews and give you an average, see like 4.1, for that business. So now I don't know if that's true. We'll have to go on Google and search Carl Strauss Brewing Company. Of course, we can just do that. Let me scoot myself over. Google Carl Strauss. Okay, 4.1 is what we should be seeing in some level of star location from Google. 4.5, 4.0. Where's Google's own? I guess I'll ask for the Google My Business. I don't see a whole I mean, 4.2, that's all within what it suggested. None of these are off. Okay. So we got a little bit of nominal knowledge. What else could I ask Gemini to? Well, it doesn't matter what else I could ask it. I have one more thing to share with you why this is relevant. This whole thing about using Gemini 2.0 Flash is because on Poe, every user gets access to it. And I evangelize Poe because it has so many tools within it that just helps you, the user of AI, have so many options every time you want to do something. So for a free account on Poe, you could talk to Gemini Flash 2.0. You get 3,000 points every day on Poe. You could talk to it at least 150 to 200 times. And I might be getting that number wrong. Maybe you could talk to it 1,000 times. You could, yeah, you could. You could talk to it 1,500 times. Anyway, that's amazing. And no, you couldn't talk to it. You could talk to it 150 times. The premise is that there are some bots that could give you just as good of an answer, and they could cost you 20 to 50 to 100 times as much in terms of its compute cost. When you spend your 3,000 daily points, you could have spent a third of them to get a just as good response as this Gemini 2.0 Flash one gave you for 20. In fact, let's see how many compute points of my daily 3,000 that I spent to get that message that it gave me the 5 real breweries in San Diego. I spent 1 point of compute to give the message, this purple part. The message itself had a meaningfulness of 17, meaning it spent 17 whatever to send the message. And then it read my chat back up into the conversation, 14 points. So it did all sorts of computation there, arriving at only 32 compute points to get this spreadsheet. And I could copy paste that into my own data, like a spreadsheet program on my computer, and then it becomes actionable, printable, usable information. I even like to make spreadsheets like that that go back into large language model bots I'm working on so that they have the same knowledge that I've accumulated for them without having to constantly go to research stuff online every time. So I just want to share with you that this Gemini 2.0 Flash on Poe, super easy to use, very low cost, can achieve quite a bit if you're doing online research. Just give it a try. Be prepared to hold its hand, because occasionally it's going to just go in the wrong direction and you're going to have to tell it, I like this, this, and this about what you did, but I want this to change. And when you tell it what you want, it can get there. So have a good time. This was a test for me to see if we could do this kind of broadcasting anywhere, like in wonderful sunny San Diego as we are. And this is actually Coronado behind me. So it's a lovely day in Coronado. I hope you're having a good day. I want to put this back down here. And that's it. Good proof of concept test. And this was all being cast online, maybe, by, oh no, I quit everything. It didn't go online, did it? No, I'm still live streaming. Awesome. See you, everybody.